recording from here. Now, as I said that the whole idea is that how we take this program forward is that I'm going to unleash a lot of ideas over here to each one of you to ponder upon. And I want you to look into certain introspections in your area where you are failing. You need to start identifying areas where you tend to give up. So how to remain motivated, how to remain charged, how to remain focused is the key part of this program. So if this program adds value, try and use that program into your system, in your life system every day, in your professional system every day, and take key learnings out of this. Okay, great. So as we all know that we talk about this special inspirational leadership model, where we talk about how the career moves from every individual from self-leadership to inspirational leadership. And self-leadership is something that is very, very important. And I have in my previous sessions kind of unleashed the basic, the basic values, the basic bricks of how self-leadership is developed and how self-leadership can transform an individual just by creating some basic disciplines. So we will talk more about those self-leadership principles. We will understand that how successful people behave, how ordinary people behave, how ordinary people can move into outstanding people, whereas people who remain ordinary, they tend to remain ordinary. And so why they tend to remain ordinary. So we are going to tell that, why people not even understand the basic word of self-leadership, why they, in spite of knowing this word self-leadership, why they are not able to even, use that power within themselves that they can be a great leader. Why do they do that? Now I'm going to share some of the key insights today. And that's where in my coaching sessions that I learned from the expert that a lot of people, they remain, for them, it all remains unknown. They don't know what's going on around them. And very few people, get to know what exactly is the mission of their life, what exactly is the purpose of their life. And when they know it, then they are unstoppable. Then they don't give up. Then they lead life full of life. They don't want to give up at any given stage. But an ordinary person will like to give up, would like to leave things many times in their life, many times in the day, many times in the every minute that they live. So what is that thing that stops them? So this is what is the core idea that I'm going to share with each one of you. So are you all ready? Are you all set? Are you all connected? Is it audible, visible? Just type yes. I just want to see the yes on the screen, so it gives me an idea that you all want to know what transforms from an ordinary person to an outstanding person. I just want to know that, are you all with me on this? If you're all with me on this, then this journey is going to be straight, very enriching, very learning for each one of you. Wonderful. Thanks for all your yes and thumbs ups. Thank you so much. So let's see what exactly is this, because those who are attending this for the first time, let me tell you, I'll be encouraging you many a time that, have you got this? You need to type your actions. You need to, so this, you are also engaged in this entire discussion that we are making. And so it becomes more fruitful, both for the speaker and the participants who are into this. So great. Okay. Now I'm going to share about something very important today, and that is about the learning cycle. So we all are under different stages of our life. We may be a student, we may be an adult, we may be working as we are as young as in our professional experience cycle could be 1 year, 10 year, 15 year, or even with the age we are 50 years. So each one of us at any stage of our life, at any age of our age that we are in, we all undergo a simple learning cycle, a very simple learning cycle. I'll try to make it as simple as possible so that you are all aligned. As some of you might have seen this, but I'm going to tell you certain things which are maybe useful to you in terms of opening your mind and understanding it, that what exactly means by this. So first thing is that I'm going to share is that many people, many means all of us, remain in a state of unconsciousness and unlearned stage. Now, what does it mean? That it means that there are many things in this life that we all come across that we are not even aware of that is happening. Things that we are aware of, we become more conscious, or we may unlearn or we may learn. But there are many, many things we are unconscious and we are unlearned about. So for example, that I don't know that there is something that exists. So let's say that I don't know that. So suppose say I sing very well, but I never tried that, I can sing it on the YouTube, or I can record my music and go to a recording company and my music can be published. So I'm unconscious and unlearned. But someday I find that one of my neighbor is also he or she learns music and can record the music and put it on YouTube or various other publishing channel where they create a lot of visibility. So till this time I was not aware, I was unconscious and unlearned. But the moment I come to know about it, I become conscious, but I'm still unlearned because I have not practiced that. I have become conscious, but I'm still unlearned about it, how to do it. So if you look at it in our life, we come across many, many situations every day when we explore new things. And when we explore new things, we come to know about the unconsciousness and unlearn. Maybe, for example, that let's say WhatsApp as an app that was existing before, you are not knowing it. So till the time you are not knowing it, you are unconscious and unlearned. But the day you came to know about an app like WhatsApp, the day you came to know, you became conscious, but you are still unlearned. And after you started practicing on it, you became conscious and you became learned. Are you all with me? Did you understand this? Just type this, because this is something very critical that I want you to understand. Does it give you a clarity? So, okay, wonderful. So when you are unconscious and you are unlearned, you are in a stage. So let's say you are into a new job, or you have entered into a new area. Let's say you have landed into an absolutely new area. You have no idea where is the restaurant, where is the hospital, where is the petrol pump, where is something. So you are in a state of unconscious and unlearned. Similarly, when you are into a new job, you don't know how the behavior of the person is, what is expected out of my job. You are not aware that what are the things that you need to do. Though you know what is your job, but you don't know what is the behavior of a person, what is expected out of me in the job. So you are unconscious and unlearned. But as you move forward, as you spend time, as you start realizing, okay, how your colleagues are working, how your people are taking help from the systems, processes, everything, you start coming into the conscious state, but you're still unlearned. Why you are unlearned? Because you have not practiced it. But a stage then starts coming slowly. When you start learning that, you come into a stage of conscious and learn. So when you move into a conscious unlearn to conscious learn, what happens? Can somebody tell me what happens when you are in this stage? When you are conscious and learn, can somebody tell me what happens when you are in this stage? Let me understand what is your understanding. I repeat, so from conscious unlearn to conscious learned stage when you come. Okay, wonderful. Durga Prasad has mentioned that performance increases. Okay, great. Any other comment? Anybody who would like to comment on it? Okay, Payal is saying the mode of practice of learning. Okay, efficiency increases. Niharika, wonderful. What else? Anybody else who would like to comment? So when you become conscious and you become learned, what happens? So, okay, last 10 seconds. If anybody is responding, then we can take it ahead. Okay, so you are in action mode. This is what Puneet is saying. And start practice if new methodology in achieving my goal. Okay, you have a better insight. Okay, great. So thanks for your feedback. So as rightly said by all of you, your productivity increases. In other words, you become master. You become successful. You become more charge of the situation that you are in. So my question to you again is it a good sign or a bad sign? Is it a good sign or a bad sign? So Rajesh is saying it's a good sign. Durga Prasad is good sign. Undoubtedly good sign. Okay, wonderful. Because you have struggled from an unconscious, unlearned stage to a conscious and a learned stage, which means you're saying it's a good sign. But how long this good sign continues? Let me see what you're learning. How long this good sign continues? So you become better day by day. Okay, point taken. Point taken. Anybody else? Is this a good sign? And if it is a good sign, then how long will it be? Till we don't adapt to market or customer need. Okay, what else? Okay, Puneet is saying till it be shown on routine work. Okay, Rao is saying as long as you unlearn the wrong practices. Wonderful. Sumit, you need to keep practicing. Wonderful. Yes, right. As long as we are innovative things and try to learn new things, which is a good sign. Okay, great. Keep on improving. Wonderful. Thank you very much for your involvement and your active listening. So, as you all rightly said, when you are conscious and when you learn, I help you to think about those areas. So as you become more conscious and you learn, what happens is you start gaining confidence, you start building mastery into it. But what happens, as you must have seen some of my previous discussions in forums, that after a period of time, your learning curve starts getting flattened. It goes like this, and then it starts getting flattened. Why it starts getting flattened? Because you have gained mastery. Now you are saying that things are not changing. There is no, I'm sorry, just one sec. There is no, just one sec, let me mute this. I didn't realize that this is active. Okay. So as I said that you start gaining mastery towards it, but after that it becomes plateau. And that's where, we forget that, or not forget, we start feeling frustrated. We start feeling that nothing is going to change in this organization or in this place of work. Nothing is there further to me to learn further because I'm at the mastery stage now. And what happens? You start seeing the same thing. Like, for example, this government is not going to change. You start blaming the things around you. This will not change. That will not change because you have moved from unconscious unlearned to a conscious learned situation. So what happens? You are at a stage where you feel frustrated. You feel that, I need a new place. I need to go to a new company because there is nothing much left to learn over here. I have already learned. I know the process. This is all going on very nice. And that's the learning cycle. And that brings us to the next point, that is unconscious and learn. And that's where unconscious. So that means you again go to unconscious and you start learning new things. So unless you don't come into the unconscious state again, you will not understand that what you need to learn. In other words, let me make it simple and let me further clarify this, that somebody has to come and somebody has to tell you that how from this conscious and learn stage, you need to again go back to the conscious and unlearn stage. Somebody has to tell you what is unconscious and then what is conscious stage so that your learning curve keep on moving up. Keep on developing. That means you are not frustrated and you have not limited only to a certain level. Does this point got clear to you? Is this clear? Could you understand what I'm saying? If yes or no, I'm okay to explain it again. Is this clear? Okay, great. So as I'm seeing your responses, thank you so much. But let me give you one very important perspective, that most of us do not understand this. And you know why we do not understand this? We do not understand this conscious learn stage, and we do not understand how to go to the unconscious stage because there is no one to tell us. What we see in our day-to-day life, like an ordinary person, we become hopeless. We become absolutely hopeless that things are not going to change now. And that's where coaching starts. That's where a coach is the one who helps you. Now, I also want to help you to understand something when I am talking today a lot about this particular practice that I have understood from the gurus, that the coach is not your mentor, he is not a guide, he is not a trainer, he is not an influencer. He is the one who actually helps you to think from within so that you are alive and you are hopeful, that you want to achieve things continuously and find your own internal mechanism that how you are going back to the unconscious unlearned stage or a conscious to unlearned stage. But coaching means also that it's only meant to those who knows that there is something that I want to change. There is something that I want to change. But if there is something that you think about it that I don't want to change, because I want to be in a comfort zone, because everybody wants to remain in a comfort zone, it's very difficult to come out of it. That's where the problem starts. So coaching cannot be given to anybody who doesn't want to change. Though they know that what they have to change, they understand what is the gap, because they are conscious, but they are unlearned. So it can be done only to those people who are open to coaching, those who are open to listen to criticism. Then only your hopes and your life begins. Perfect. So coach here, the message of coach is that they help you to think from within. Now, I'll give you one more perspective, which I liked it when I learned about it, and I thought I must share with each one of you. Now, how many of you know your mother tongue? You may be in south, west, east, north of this country. How many of you learned your mother tongue? This is a question to each one of you. So if your mother tongue, if our country mother tongue is Hindi, so you learned Hindi at your home. Did somebody teach you? Did somebody consciously teach you? Okay, let me pose the question. Let me pose the question very simple. Let's please understand, and then you respond. Did you learn your mother tongue consciously or unconsciously? Just type yes or no. Did you learn your mother tongue consciously or unconsciously? Okay, Payal is saying unconsciously. Let me hear the responses. Abhanya, unconsciously. Okay, Rao is saying consciously. So, okay, unconsciously. Okay. So you learned your mother tongue unconsciously. Nobody taught you that how to do that. But now let me ask you, how many of you learned English as a language? Was it consciously or unconsciously? Now tell me, if English as a language, if you have learned, did you learn consciously or unconsciously? Okay, wonderful. So you are saying that you learned it consciously, which means you knew that you have to learn this, so you took effort and you gained that knowledge. Whereas, how did you learn your mother tongue? That was all unconsciously, because you listen to people, you listen to your parents, the family members, and you learn that language. Nobody taught you, so you learned subconsciously or unconsciously. Now, listen and understand again very carefully. When you learned that thing unconsciously, as a language was one of the examples, so I'm sure there are so many things that you would have learned unconsciously. It all depends upon your upbringing as a childhood. So you may have learned unconsciously fear, anger. It has come to you unconsciously. Frustration, being frustrated, yelling, shouting, anything like that, which has come, whether it is a good habit or a bad habit. I'm not debating on the good or bad habits. I'm saying there are so many things that you learn unconsciously. Now, what happens when you learn unconsciously? Now you realize when you entered into the world that there are certain bad habits in you. Somebody told you, this is your area of improvement. You look very angry very fast, so you need to work on it. Now, what happens? What happens when you understand when somebody points out to you that this is your improvement area? So you want to improve it. Now, when you want to improve it, what do you want to do? You will try consciously to treat your unconscious problem. Is it not? Are you all with me? That you want to now treat or solve your or any habit or any skill that you gained unconsciously by a conscious method. Okay, let's say I have a habit of my listening is my problem. I talk a lot. So listening is a problem because you learned something that you always want to talk. So what happened? Subconsciously, you learned that more. Now, when you learned that subconsciously, now somebody told me, Arun, listening is your problem. You don't listen to people. So what happens? Now I want to control myself. And when I don't control that, what will happen? Many times I can tell you, people will say that, you are still, I see that, you are not able to control your basic problem of listening, as an example. So what happens? when you are not able to solve your unconscious problems, what happens? Only one thing that happens is you end up feeling frustrated because you cannot solve your problems which you learned subconsciously or unconsciously in the conscious state. You all agree with this? Is it a fact? Do you understand this? So many of us are trying to learn leadership principles in our day-to-day life, in our day-to-day work, but there are certain things that are within us that makes us give up on the way. We just lose hope on the way. And that's what an average person does. Whereas an outstanding person doesn't behave like this. They are continuously looking, they are hopeful and they live life completely. And that's what a coach can help you to understand. That how to fight out your unconscious problem consciously and subconsciously so that you lead a successful life. So you erode your basic problems completely from within. And by doing very simple things, but they are not easy things. I said simple things, but not easy things. So you can do all these things by very basic and simple steps, but they are not easy. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes understanding about the issues. So with this slide, I really wanted you to get a feel of it, that how our learning cycle work. So was it of some help? Did you get something? Type yes, I learned. Yes, I learned something from this. Great. So think about all those situations with you, that how you can go back to your unconscious stage or conscious stage. Because in other words, let me make it further simple to you. I think Steve Jobs also said all these things in one simple word: stay hungry and stay foolish. That means remain unconscious and unlearned stage so that you are always learning in your life. Great. So thank you so much for our feedback. So let's move ahead and see how our personal leadership. So I'm trying to bring from an unconscious unlearned stage to all of you to conscious and unlearned stage, and then move into the conscious and learned stage. So this is a continuous cycle. That's why you see Upar, we have written clearly, it is a cycle. It is not like a straight line. It is like this. We are always going like this and going like this. So you sometimes on this, but then don't remain on this. It's a constant movement that will keep on happening. Okay, now we'll come to some of the very important things about personal leadership. Now, when we talk about personal leadership, we talked about how to double our productivity and how to achieve our goals. Now, these are some of the two very important things that I want, that how personal leadership can help you to achieve this. Because we all know that if we are very strong in our personal leadership, we can become an inspirational leader just by practicing good personal leadership principles. If you understand that, you are very well on this. Now, there are 4 things to improve the quality of life and work. I'm just re-emphasizing on something that you have already seen and done. That means that you can do more of certain things. We'll talk in more detail what are those certain things. Some of you who have been attending this program, they would know that you need to work on something. You can do less of certain things. Today, we'll unleash that. What is that? More or less. You can start to do things that you're not doing at all today. So you need to also identify those skills that you want to do, and that you can. So that is something we are talking about, unconscious and unlearned. Identify your unconscious and unlearned so that you can start to do things that you are not doing at all today. 4th is you can stop doing certain things altogether because they are like your time wasters. Now, if you look at this is the 30 days challenge. Identify which are your high value and high productivity, and follow the 80-20 principle. Let me re-emphasize to each one of you that spend 20%. So that means spend your 20% of those activities that give you 80% of the results. So what are those 20% time investors? Identify that and do it more often. So you get more productivity with that less effort. With the right focus, you get more productivity. That is called 80-by-20 principle. And then start identifying which are your bottom 80% and weed them off, remove them off, because they are lower value and time consuming. Now, this is what we shared. Write down the activities areas where you are getting best results and earning most of your money, which means that areas where you feel that you have the best of ability to execute things so that you learn more. And write down the activities and areas which consume more time but little value to your real goals. So have you done this exercise? If some of you have done it, I want to listen them out, that has it been of some help to you? And those who have not done it so far, I would encourage you in the next 60 seconds, please do it right away and share it with us here. And those who have done it, I would love to hear from them that, are you practicing it? And if you are practicing it, what is the outcome of it? Let me hear it from this program. And that gives me further encouragement that what you guys are really doing. Okay, let's see what are the comments that we are getting here. Okay, Payal is saying done and very beneficial. Wonderful to note that. So at the end of the day, you know, this program, this webinar, this internet way of doing things, I'm just learning from each one of you, and only you can share some of the success stories that you are trying to find out in your way of work. Anybody else? So if you have done that, yeah, you mentioned that, Rao, that you have done and identified certain things. Now you need to reap the benefits. You need to understand that how this is going to be beneficial to you as you progress and follow it religiously on everyday basis. Okay, so Niharika is saying done and it actually works. Wonderful. Who else? Another 30 seconds. This is something, see, we'll talk more about this, that what are the consequences of not utilizing this properly. So we have now identified in this program that what we have done in terms of writing these time investors and time wasters, but most importantly, we also need to understand the timing of it. If you understand the timings of it, that when to use this and when not to use it, can also help you to understand that where exactly is the gap. Okay, great. So Sumit is saying it's helpful, and I hope that it helps you continuously. So make it a habit. Keep removing those below 80% tasks which is wasting your time. So you know what are your time wasters. And those of you, so is there anyone who has not done this exercise here in this group? Is there anyone? Feel free. This is not nobody is going to hang you. This is only to understand that if you have not done, I can help you in doing so. That's the commitment that I give when I do this program. So anybody who has not done it. Okay, so Teja is saying that I'm new to it, going to start. Okay, wonderful. Anybody else who has not done it? So very simple. It's very simple. You need to identify areas where you are getting the best results. So there would be definitely 3 or 4 things that you are doing which is giving you better results, better recognition, and in the end you are earning more money, or whatever money that you are earning, whatever recognition you are earning, whatever performance that you are bringing. There are certain things that you can identify yourself. You don't need a external somebody should come and tell you, because this is your life, your work. You know exactly what you have done, and there are certain things that consume more times and you don't get results. So don't waste your time on that, and precisely reduce them from your day-to-day activities. Once you start doing that, you will find that you will have more time to do those activities which are more productive, which are more useful. And that's precisely, you have to do it continuously 30 days. Once you identify, if you don't identify and you start focusing on it, it will be difficult. So first identify the top 3 each side, and then start balancing it. And then you can start, developing it when you understand, because whatever is giving you results right now, maybe there are something better things that you can do and understand those things. So keep on evolving this sheet after every 30 days and find out the benefits, how you are reaping the benefits and how you are reducing your errors and failures. Okay, great. So let's understand and uncode this further, that how you can double your productivity. Now, this is the idea that we are talking about, how to increase your productivity. Now, to increase your productivity, first of all, you need to do is your goal setting. Now, we all have understood goal setting in the previous sessions. We have talked a lot. I'm sure in your own way of professional growth, you would have understood this word very often, goal setting. So very simply, I'm not going to tell you anything, but today I'm saying do your goal setting basis on the time investors and time wasters that you have identified, and basis which you focus on your goal. So write very clearly, what are my SMART goals, what are specific, measurable, time bound, and realistic SMART goals you need to write down. And very importantly, these SMART objectives you need to think on a paper. Don't think here. Whatever you think here is only 10%. Whatever you write when you think, it converts to 80%. So think about this 10% and 80% ratio, because I can tell you there are people who are talking so big, but when you ask them to write down the same thing, they can't even write 2 lines about what exactly they want in their life. And I can tell you even today, if I'll tell you to do that, half of you may be struggling to write down what exactly you want. And that's where the problem is. We think a lot in our mind, we create a lot of castles, and by the time we sleep, we forget what we thought yesterday. So it's important that you need to identify what are your goals and how you are setting your SMART objectives, but think on a paper, not here. Because whatever is here, it has to come down. And once it comes down, if you can write down your goals clearly, you are very much able to increase your productivity. We are talking purely about increasing the productivity, because if you increase your productivity, you will reach to your goals faster. And the best way is to identify your time wasters and time gainers. And as I said, focus on the top 20%, which means only those 20% of those activities that gives you more money, that gives you your 80% of the results. Just focus on that. Advantages, you will reach your goal faster. Advantages, your productivity will be doubled. Advantages, you will have more time to yourself, which will help you to maintain a healthy life, which will also help you to focus on your personal life, which will also help you to give you mental peace. But when people waste their time in doing those things which are not productive, what happens? You waste your entire day since morning till evening and you don't get anything out of it. And then you say that, I have slogged for the whole day and I'm dead tired. Even when half of the day is not complete, you feel tired. Whereas people, that means outstanding people, extraordinary people, what do? They only focus on those 20% of the task and they deliver their value faster, easier, and they further sharpen those skills further because they repeatedly do those 20% of the things that gives them 80% of the results. So this is the way one should plan their career, plan their objectives so that they can increase their productivity. So they keep on increasing their productivity and they start weeding out. Over a period of time, when you understand this, it becomes your habit. It comes into your habit. And that's why you will find that people who are successful, they are consciously or subconsciously, what we have just understood, they will keep doing these things. And they bring repeated success. They don't just bring success by fluke. There is a method. They sometimes they understand, many times they don't understand, but they bring success. And as I mentioned last time, that every minute you spend in planning will save as many as 10 minutes in execution. So very clearly defined, you want to spend 10 minutes in execution, which means waste a lot of time, or you want to save every minute just by doing the right planning. And that right planning will be done by thinking. If you think properly, but think here, but write it on a paper. Think on a paper. Once you think on a paper, you will be more faster to deliver it. Was this useful to increase your productivity? Do you think that by following this simple principle can help you to double your productivity? Or at least move to an X level from the current level? Are you all finding it simple, easiest method to improve your productivity? Wonderful. And I want to listen out these actions that you take when you go back, because every one of you is working in a different work environment, in different location, in different kind of a business. But this principle will apply anywhere and everywhere. So you need to understand that if you implement it religiously, you will be able to bring better results for yourself. You will have more peaceful and more healthier life than like a slogger. And that's the difference between an ordinary and an outstanding person. That's what I will keep repeating you so that it is imbibed in your system. Okay. Now, what is the way to bring high productivity? Let's understand further. In very simple words, how you can increase your productivity is simply put in 2 words. What is the value of the task is equal to the consequences. So how will you measure the value of the task? Which means that the kind of task that you have in hand, how you do it and how you don't do it will directly link to the consequences. What does it mean? So if I know that I have a task, say for example, I have to finish a project or I have to finish an assignment of my boss which has been given to me. Now I have to value the task. So if the value of this task is very high, I should do it on priority, because that is something that will bring me recognition. That is something that will bring me more focus and more learning in that area. So the faster you do it, effectively you do it, the consequences are you get better results, you get recognition. Now let's take another task. You go for a lunch break, you extend your lunch break into a smoke break, into a gossip break. What are the consequences? You waste a lot of time. So the value of the task, how you do it and how you don't do it will define. Now reverse this. Now if you spend less time on the task where you are supposed to deliver a project or an assignment, what will be the consequence? You will get a bashing from your boss, you will get a negative ranking from your boss or your system or the process that you have. And if you spend less time on those gossips, on those lunch breaks, or on those time wasters, the consequences are that you will be spending more time in doing productive activity. So understand every time what is the value of the task, which will lead to what consequence. So identifying those tasks is very important. I hope this would have helped you to understand that in a very simple words, that how a simple activity can help you in identifying what kind of task that I'm going to do. How I'm going to do is more on skill part. So if you understand what are my 20% of those activities, your skills will also keep on improving, because you are going to repeat those things which gives you more productivity. Now, I'm also further going to take it one ABCDE formula to double your productivity. Do you want to know the ABCDE? You're really interested to understand? Are you finding it useful, first of all? Because then only I'll take it ahead. Are you finding it useful? You want to know what is the ABCDE of formula, how to double your productivity, because in the end, you will be counted on this. So, okay, great. So let's understand what is the ABCDE of it. So if you understand the ABCDE of it, you can easily double your productivity, because at the end of the day, if you double your productivity, you reach your goal faster. You are less tired. You are more energetic. You learn a lot of things. You have more time for yourself. Within the same time span that you spend 8 hours, 6 hours a day, you can easily increase your productivity. So let's see what is the ABCD. Number one, what is A? Very simply, A is, these are you must do. The things that are must do for you. That means that in my day-to-day task, there are certain things that you have to do. And you cannot miss out on a particular thing. So these are like must do things in your day-to-day itinerary. So when you write down your priorities for the week, or you write down your priorities of the day, there are must tasks, and it has to get cut at the end of the day, or the project that you are supposed to do. So if a report has to go on a particular day, or if a particular customer has to be met in a week, or whatever that important must task, don't avoid it, don't delay it, because the moment you delay it, it will bring bad impact. That means that these are those must tasks that bring significant consequences. They have direct impact on your performance. So identify which are those must tasks. So in the list of your priorities, these must tasks must be on the very top. That is why this is ABCD, this is A. So what are your must tasks? Even if everything falls on this earth, this A will not be missed out by me. How difficult it may be, how challenging it may be, how much time it is going to take, let it take, because this is that particular task that is going to impact the maximum performance issues, or maximum impact on the consequences that you are driving. So look at this A. Now let's look at B. May I request somebody to please mute the line? I think I just okay. Thank you. So the B of ABCD is you should do. Now I have moved from must do to you should do. Now there are consequences if done or not, but not before a task. So these are basically, in other words, these are those tasks which are important tasks that you should do, but but it cannot come at A level. So A level are must do things, and B level is that there are consequences if done or not. We will talk in more details what are those consequences, because basis which you will be able to plan your activities very clearly. So for example, if I have to do a goal setting, this will come in my B section. That means I should do this because there are consequences if done or not. So, but again, my A task is that if I have to achieve my performance on a day-to-day basis, I know there are certain actions that I need to give. So that is my A task. Now, what is my C task? Nice to do things, but has no consequences at all. Now, we all know there are certain nice to do things, but has no consequences at all. Let's say, for example, I read newspaper, I read a report. So it has no consequences. They are nice to do things. I should know what happened in that report, what did not happen in that particular case, or meeting your friends, or giving time to your family. They are nice to do things, but it has no consequences at all at your work. What is the D part? D part is that anything you can delegate to others. Now, there are many tasks that you can delegate to some other people that can save your time. Now, these are those tasks which are not very important tasks, and they are, so you need to think that if I am not doing this, will it really impact my company? If I am not doing it, even in my absence, if somebody else do it, will it impact? And if it is not impacting, you should delegate that task immediately, because that may be one of the time wasters that you may have around you. So identify that time waster very fast, and you can delegate that task to somebody else. But you need to evaluate. How will you evaluate that you are delegating that task? That means the consequence of that task is not gonna impact somebody, because if it can be done in your absence, you can always delegate that task. And the last E is eliminate altogether. Doing it or not doing it, it has no consequence at all. So checking Facebook, even if you don't do it, or a social media post, even if you don't do it, it has no consequence at all. So eliminate those things altogether. So there are many things in your day-to-day life. Some people have a habit of fiddling with their phone every 5 minutes. They want to see something is coming. So even if you don't do it, nothing is going to happen. It has no, but these are some time wasters. How many times in a day just note down that you fiddled with your phone or something else? There are so many emails that you get where you don't have to be a part of it. It is just for your FYI. So maybe there are certain things that you can eliminate altogether. So identify these areas very clearly. That will help you to make your productivity better, because at the end of the day, our objective is how do we prioritize our work so that our productivity gets double. Did you get this ABCDE principle? And is it simple and is it clear? Do you find it simple and interesting in your day-to-day work? Can you identify certain things that will help you to clearly demarcate things? Only thing is, you need to, when you write your day-to-day list, you need to just write down very clearly those things which are must do for you, which are important. You may all be doing this. I'm not saying that you may not be doing all these things. You may be doing it, but I am bringing you to conscious competence or conscious learnings, that how you can do it little better and use it in your day-to-day practice. You all, I'm not saying, I mean, all of us are doing all these things in our life, but are we doing it consciously? Are we really clear about how we are going to create an impact? This is something that will help you. So this is, as I said, that this is a time where you can charge your batteries. This is a time where you can revisit yourself and think a little more. Okay, great. Now, I'm sure I'll not spend more time, but whatever I said, that it is also summarized in this. I'm sure you would have seen in your previous trainings or various social medias, this kind of a slide, what is important, urgent, what is non-urgent. So I'll not spend much time, but whatever I said, you can put all this in this quadrant. So you need to understand what are your urgent calls. So that means these are your must do things. If a phone bell is ringing, that means it is an urgent, then you have to pick it. You have to talk to that person. But then there are non-urgent tasks, but it still has consequences, which is, as I said, goals and planning. And quadrant 4, which I just mentioned, eliminate those things which has no consequence at all. That is called destruction. Whereas quadrant 3 is interruptions, which means they are nice to do things. If you look at this slide, we said There are nice to do things and you can delegate these things. So these are all interruptions. So they are not important. So you can use, so all of you, so how many of you have used this quadrant in prioritizing their work? How many of you use this, or maybe subconsciously you are using this quadrant? Or you have seen this before? Okay, great. So, okay, great. So what I'm saying is that the only difference now with this quadrant is, first of all, before this quadrant you use or you work on this quadrant, you need to first of all identify your task, your time wasters and time investors. Once you identify that very clearly, making this becomes very, very simple. So over a period of time, you yourself will realize that how you can prioritize your work and start working at it, that will give you more results. So ultimately, by doing all these activities can help you to bring more productivity. Now, 3 questions for high productivity that you need to keep asking yourself every time. So if you have done all this, suppose you have rightly identified what are the things that you have to stop doing, start doing, eliminate things. You have understood that what are the consequences of the work that you're doing. You have also understood that what are my high value tasks. You have also understood that what are my low value tasks. You also have understood what are my time wasters. Now we come to the most important part, that every time, so you have done it, you're practicing it. As I said, some of you are really practicing it. But every time when you spend a week, when you end your week or when you end your month, you should ask these 3 questions for high productivity. Number 1, keep asking yourself, what are my highest value activity? What are the things that you do that contribute value to your work? You need to keep asking, how am I adding value to work? What is that I'm doing today that I'm adding value to the work? And that is precisely your 20%. These are your must do things. If I don't do this, my bread will not come to my home. My salary will not come if I don't do this. Or my business will not be productive if I don't do this. So keep asking yourself, because this list will keep on evolving. After a month, you have some other things that will come as highest priority. So you need to keep evolving these highest value activities. Number 2, ask yourself, what am I on the payroll? Why this company has hired me? What is the core role? You need to keep questioning it. That's what I said, our learning curve, one says goes up, 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 it starts getting flattened. The only reason is we don't question ourselves, why am I on the payroll? What exactly you have been hired to accomplish in terms of measurable results? Keep asking this question every time when you are working. Don't get bogged down with situations. You are very clear now. What are the things that will help you to keep on track? So these questions will keep you on track. Question number 3, what is the most valuable use of my time right now? This is the key question in time and personal management. So what is the most valuable use of my time right now? If I'm sitting idle, if I'm not doing anything, what exactly I should be doing right now? What is the best utilization of my time? How am I reading a book if I'm not doing anything? Am I adding value? I'm helping others, or I'm creating value for others? Something that you need to very clearly identify. If you clearly identify these things, you will know that what are the areas that you're wasting your time. You will identify the areas what will help you to higher your productivity. So that's what it's very clearly mentioned. What is the most valuable use of my time right now? If you know that this is right now I'm wasting my time, you should go back and do those activities that will add value to you tomorrow morning. So ask these 3 questions continuously and very often to yourself. That will help you to firm up your productivity. So as you know that today we covered a lot of areas in terms of how to increase our productivity and how we can look into evolving those areas which are of high value, because these things, if you follow, as I said in the beginning of my talk, that these are some of those habits of outstanding people. Sometimes they do it consciously, but many times when it becomes their habit, they do it unconsciously. And that subconsciously, not unconscious, subconsciously. So it is in their subconscious. They are always doing it. They don't have to be practiced. And I am only with this method helping you to ignite that thought process in you, that how I become more consciously competent. So by doing these things can help you to become consciously competent. And finally, we come to the end, as it has been a wonderful program so far. So I want you to caption this slide. what comes to your mind when you see this slide? Anyone? I hope, so take your time, 30 seconds, and think about it, that what this slide means to you. So it can be a meaning for everyone. You can comment, you can message. Okay, let's see what comments, messages. Okay, key is in your hand. Yes, wonderful, Jagmohan. Critical thinking. Yes. Solve yourself and complete the puzzle. Yes, perfectly fine. So each one of you, Vinay is saying, focusing on one thing. So each one of you have your own way of expressing these things. Similarly, each one of you have your own problems. Each one of you have your own situations. Each one of you have your white spot, a spot which is the most important spot. Each one of you have the capability within yourself to be more successful. Only thing is, you need to ignite yourself from within and understand these things and how it is going to be useful. So thank you so very much, and I really appreciate your time and patience for being here today. And I really look forward to work with some of you who are keen to go ahead on those coaching lines and to become more excelling their career ahead. And I look forward that each learning that we discussed today would be of some use to you to ignite yourself and many others who are around you to bring that positive energy. And with this note, I thank you all, and we meet again on 6 March 2018. That's a commitment, that's a promise, and we'll meet again and gather here again. Thank you so very much, and good night to all of you, and looking forward for your feedbacks, comments, wherever you feel comfortable to share it. Thank you so very much.